The knife was 3 inches from my throat when I caught her wrist. She couldn't have been more than 8 years old, or whatever passed for 8 in Velthari years. Her scales were the dull gray of malnutrition, her eyes burning with a hatred too old for her face. The refugee camp guards had warned me about the feral ones. The children of Dominion had turned into weapons before we liberated them. "Let go," she hissed in broken standard. "I kill you. I kill all humans." I didn't let go. I also didn't call for backup, which probably made me an idiot. Sergeant Major Chen would have had plenty to say about that. "You're holding the knife wrong," I said. She blinked. Whatever response she'd expected, that wasn't it. Blade should face down for a throat strike. More force that way. I slowly turned her wrist, demonstrating. "See?" For a long moment, she just stared at me. Then she tried to stab me again, this time with the corrected grip. I blocked it, but barely. "Better," I admitted. The camp director found us like that 20 minutes later. Me, sitting against the supply crate, her crouched 3 feet away with the knife still in her hand, neither of us having moved or spoken. "Commander Reyes." Director Okonkwo's voice was carefully neutral. "I see you've met Subject 7 Gamma. She has a name. The Dominion didn't give them names." I looked at the girl. The hatred in her eyes had shifted to something else. Confusion, maybe. Wariness. Like a feral cat trying to decide if the offered hand held food or a trap. "What happens to her?" I asked. "Rehabilitation program. 2 years minimum. Most of them." Okonkwo hesitated. "Most of them don't make it through. The conditioning is too deep." The girl's grip tightened on the knife. She understood more standard than she let on. And if someone took responsibility for her? Outside the program? Okonkwo stared at me like I'd lost my mind. Maybe I had. 15 years of war will do that to you. Make you desperate for something that isn't death and destruction. Make you stupid enough to look at a child soldier who just tried to kill you and see something worth saving. "Commander, she tried to assassinate you. She's not the first." I stood up slowly, keeping my movements visible. "But she's definitely the youngest." The girl watched me with those ancient eyes. I'd seen that look before, on the faces of soldiers who'd been fighting so long they'd forgotten there was anything else. She was waiting for the trick, the trap, the moment when kindness revealed itself as just another weapon. "I'm not going to hurt you," I said. "But I'm also not going to pretend you're not dangerous. So here's the deal. You can come with me, keep that knife, and we figure this out together. Or you can go to the rehabilitation center and take your chances there." "Why?" The word was barely a whisper. "Because someone should have given me the same choice once, and no one did." She didn't lower the knife. She didn't trust me. She'd be dead if she trusted easily. But after a long moment, she gave a single, sharp nod. Okonkwo was already pulling up forms on his tablet, shaking his head. "This requires mountains of paperwork, Commander, and there's no guarantee Command will approve. They will. I earned enough favors over 15 years. Time to cash them in." She doesn't even have a name for the forms. I looked at the girl. "What do you want to be called?" Another long pause. Then, quietly, "The other ones called me Knife. That's what you were. What do you want to be?" Her brow furrowed. The first expression I'd seen on her face that wasn't rage or suspicion. She was thinking about it. Maybe for the first time in her life she was thinking about who she wanted to be rather than what she'd been made into. "I don't know," she finally admitted. "That's okay. We'll figure it out." The transport back to the Meridian base took 6 hours. She sat across from me the entire time, knife in hand, watching. I let her watch. I'd been watched by worse. Sergeant Major Chen met us at the landing pad. Took one look at the situation and said absolutely nothing. That was worse than if she'd yelled. "Don't start," I said. "Didn't say a word, Commander. You're thinking very loudly." Chen looked at the girl. The girl looked back with flat, assessing eyes, measuring threat level, exits, weapons within reach. Standard child soldier evaluation protocol. I'd read the intelligence reports on Dominion training methods. I wished I hadn't. "She got a name?" Chen asked. "We're working on it. She got a room? Also working on it." Chen sighed the sigh of someone who had been dealing with my decisions for 12 years and had long since given up on changing them. "I'll have quarters set up adjacent to yours. Separate entrance, shared wall. That work?" The girl's eyes flickered. She'd noticed the tactical implications. Escape route through her room, but also proximity to a potential threat. She was calculating whether it was a trap. "She'll have her own access code," I added. "She can lock me out if she wants." Chen raised an eyebrow but didn't comment. The girl's expression shifted again. That confusion returning. Predators didn't give prey the ability to lock them out. "Come on," I said. "I'll show you where you'll be staying. You don't have to decide anything tonight." She followed me at exactly 6 feet of distance, close enough to strike, far enough to run. Professional spacing. The Dominion had trained her well. The quarters were standard officer housing, small, functional, aggressively beige. I showed her the adjacent room, the lock panel, how to set her own code. Food's in the mess hall, but I can bring some here if you'd rather not deal with people yet. Bathroom's through there. You need anything, you knock on the wall. 3 times. I'll hear it. She stood in the middle of the room, still holding the knife, looking lost. All her training was for killing. No one had taught her what to do when someone wasn't trying to hurt her. I'm going to go to my room now, I said. You can lock the door behind me. Or not. Your choice. I was halfway through the connecting door when her voice stopped me. Why do you keep giving me choices? I turned back. She looked smaller somehow, in the empty room. A child wearing the shell of a weapon. Because the Dominion never did, I said. And you deserve to know what that feels like. I closed the door. A moment later, I heard the lock engage. It was a start. She didn't try to kill me for 3 whole days. I considered that progress. On the 4th day, she showed up at my door at 500, knife still in hand, and said, I'm hungry. I made her eggs. She watched me cook like I might poison them, then ate standing up with her back to the wall. When she finished, she washed the plate herself without being asked. What do you do? She asked. All day. Meetings, mostly. Planning. Sometimes I train. Train what? Combat. Strategy. Staying alive. Her eyes sharpened. Show me. I took her to the gym. It was empty at 530. Most of the base didn't wake until 600. She watched me go through basic forms, her gaze tracking every movement with professional assessment. Your left side is weak, she said after 10 minutes. Old injury. Took a round through the shoulder at Kepler Station. Dominion teaches to always strike the weak side. I know. That's why I train it harder. She considered this. Then, without warning, she attacked. It was different from the refugee camp. Controlled, testing. She wasn't trying to kill me. She was trying to evaluate me. I blocked and redirected, letting her see my patterns while watching hers. The Dominion had trained her well, but they'd trained her for assassination, not extended combat. After 2 minutes, she was breathing hard. After 3, I had her pinned. Yield, I said. She did something complicated with her joints. Velthari flexibility. And slipped out of my hold. I let her go, rolling back to my feet. Good, I admitted. But you're burning too much energy too fast. Combat isn't always about the first strike. Dominion says first strike is only strike. Dominion lost the war. She went still. I'd said the wrong thing. I could see the walls going back up, the hatred flickering behind her eyes. They didn't lose, she said. They abandoned us. The assets became unviable. Assets. She called herself an asset. I wanted to find whoever had taught her that word and introduce them to my fist. You're not an asset, I said. You're a kid. I'm a weapon. You can be both. Doesn't mean you have to be. She didn't have an answer for that. She just stood there, small and lethal, and utterly lost. Same time tomorrow, I offered. I'll teach you how to fight for more than 30 seconds. The ghost of something that might have been curiosity crossed her face. Why would you teach me to fight better? I might use it against you. You might, I agreed. That's a risk I'm willing to take. That's stupid. Probably. We trained together every morning after that. I taught her how to pace herself, how to read an opponent's intentions, how to survive when the first strike didn't land. She taught me 3 Velthari joint attacks that shouldn't have been physically possible. She still didn't have a name. I didn't push. 2 weeks in, Chen found me in the mess hall and sat down without asking permission. The kid's been following me, she said. Following you how? Training grounds, armory, even the damn laundry room. Chen shook her head. She's good. I barely notice her most of the time. But she's definitely watching. She's evaluating threats. She's evaluating the whole base, Commander. Every entrance, every exit, every patrol rotation. You know what that looks like to me. Reconnaissance. Planning. I set down my fork. You think she's going to try something? I think she's a Dominion-trained operative who's been inside our security perimeter for 2 weeks with full access. I think if she wanted to sabotage us, she's had 100 opportunities. Chen met my eyes. I also think she hasn't taken any of them, and that's making me more nervous than if she had. Maybe she's not planning an attack. Then what's she planning? I thought about it. The watching, the evaluating, the constant assessment. Without action. Then I understood. Escape routes, I said. She's not planning how to hurt us. She's planning how to run. Chen's expression shifted. From us? Or to somewhere. I don't know. But I think it's time to find out. That night I knocked on her door instead of waiting for her to come to me. Can I come in? A pause. Then the lock clicked open. She was sitting on the bed, knife in hand as always, watching me with those careful eyes. The room was exactly as I'd left it 2 weeks ago. Nothing moved, nothing personalized, nothing to indicate anyone actually lived here. You've been mapping the base, I said. She didn't deny it. Dominion protocol. Know the terrain. Makes sense. I leaned against the wall, giving her space. You thinking about running? Another pause, longer this time. Then, quietly. I don't know where to run to. You could stay. Why would I stay? I'm a weapon. Weapons don't stay. They get used and discarded. Is that what you think's going to happen? It's what always happens. I thought about all the things I could say. Reassurances, promises, platitudes. She'd heard them all before from Dominion handlers who'd meant none of them. Words weren't going to convince her of anything. Okay, I said instead. Then let's make a deal. She looked up, suspicious. Deal she understood. You stay for 6 months. Train with me. Learn what you want. Figure out what kind of life you might want to have. At the end of 6 months, if you want to leave, I'll help you. Transportation, supplies, new identity, whatever you need. Why would you do that? Because you deserve a choice. And because if you decide to stay, I want it to be because you chose to, not because you had nowhere else to go. She studied me for a long moment. The same assessment she'd done in the refugee camp, but something was different now. Like she was trying to solve a puzzle that didn't fit any patterns she knew. What do you get? She asked finally. Company, I said. It's been a long war. Gets lonely. That's stupid. You keep saying that. You keep being stupid. But she was almost smiling when she said it. Almost. 6 months, she said. Then I decide. Then you decide. She nodded once, sharp and final. A deal struck. I left her room feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Something dangerous and fragile and probably foolish. Hope. The attack came 3 months into our arrangement. We were on a supply run to Station Kethri. Routine, boring, supposedly safe. She'd been asking to see more of the galaxy beyond the base, and I'd pulled strings to get her cleared for non-combat missions. You're supposed to be learning to live, not fighting, I'd told her. Living is boring, she'd replied, but she'd come anyway. Station Kethri was a trading post, neutral territory, full of species from a dozen different systems. She walked through the crowded corridors with her hand on her knife, eyes scanning constantly, but there was something new in her expression too. Wonder maybe. She'd never seen this many different beings in one place who weren't trying to kill each other. That one has 6 arms, she said, pointing at a hexali merchant. Rude to point. Is it rude on all planets? Most of them. Different ones have different rules. She filed that away. I could see her cataloging the information for later. She'd been doing that more often, collecting knowledge that had nothing to do with killing. Last week I'd caught her reading about Terran ocean life, of all things. I like the whales, she'd said when I asked. They're very large and they sing to each other. That seems... She'd struggled for the word. Nice. Now she was staring at an aquarium display in a shop window, watching luminescent fish drift through artificial currents. Her guard was down. Not completely. Never completely. But enough that she looked almost like a normal kid for once. That's when I saw the Dominion operative. He was good. Civilian clothes, easy posture, nothing obviously wrong. But I'd spent 15 years fighting these bastards, and I recognized the way he moved, the way his eyes tracked us without seeming to. Time to go, I said quietly. She was already moving before I finished speaking. She'd seen him too. We made it 50 meters before they boxed us in. 4 operatives, civilian disguise, appearing from different directions with perfect coordination. Our recovery teamed. They weren't here for me. They were here for her. Commander Reyes. The leader smiled without warmth. Please step away from the asset. This doesn't have to involve you. She's not an asset. She's Dominion property. Failed conditioning doesn't change ownership. I felt her go rigid beside me. 3 months of progress. 3 months of slowly teaching her that she was more than what they'd made her. And here they were, trying to drag her back into that darkness. She's not property, I said. She's under UN protection. UN protection doesn't extend to recovered enemy materials. The operative's hand moved toward his weapon. Last warning, Commander. Step away. And if I don't, then you die. And we take her anyway. She moved before I could stop her. It was the fastest I'd ever seen her. 3 months of training, all that Dominion conditioning, channeled into explosive violence. She took down the first operative before he cleared his holster, the second before he could shout. But there were 4 of them, and she was still small, still young, still burning energy too fast. The third one caught her with a neural disruptor. She went down hard, convulsing, her knife spinning away across the floor. No! I was moving before I knew it, 15 years of combat instinct taking over. I killed the third operative. The fourth caught me across the ribs with a shock baton, and suddenly I was the one on the ground, pain whiting out my vision. Disappointing, the leader said, standing over me. I expected more from the hero of Kepler Station. He raised his weapon. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything but watch. She hit him from behind like a gray-scaled missile. I don't know how she got up from the neural disruptor. Belthari physiology maybe, or pure determination, or something that defied explanation. But she was on him, teeth and claws and 3 months of rage at everyone who'd ever treated her like property. He went down. He didn't get up. She stood over his body, breathing hard, covered in blood that wasn't hers. When she turned to look at me, her eyes were wild, feral, the weapon the Dominion had made her. Are you hurt? The words came out broken, harsh. Commander, are you hurt? I'll live. I forced myself to sit up, ribs screaming. You? She looked down at her hands like she was seeing them for the first time. The wildness faded, replaced by something I'd never seen on her face before. Fear. She was afraid. I killed them, she whispered. I didn't think. They were going to hurt you, and Hey. I held out my hand. Come here. She approached slowly, like she expected me to recoil. Like she expected me to finally see the monster the Dominion had made and turn away. I pulled her into a hug instead. She went stiff. She always did, with physical contact. But she didn't pull away. After a moment, her hands came up to grip my jacket, holding on like I might disappear. You saved my life, I said. I killed them. They were going to kill me, and take you back to people who would hurt you. You protected us both. Is that? She pulled back enough to look at me, confusion and hope and fear all tangled together. Is that different? From what I did before? What did you do before? I killed because they told me to. Because I was ordered to. And today? She thought about it. Really thought, for the first time analyzing her own actions instead of just executing them. I chose, she said slowly. They were going to hurt you. I didn't want them to hurt you, so I chose to stop them. That's different, I said. That's very different. Station security arrived then. Late. As always. There were reports to file, bodies to explain, diplomatic incidents to smooth over. It took hours. She stayed next to me the entire time. Not behind me, not in front of me. Next to me. When we finally got back to the transport, she fell asleep in her seat within minutes, the first time I'd ever seen her sleep in my presence. The ultimate vulnerability, and she just let it happen. I watched her sleep and felt something shift in my chest. Something that had been locked away for 15 years, since before the war, since I'd forgotten what it felt like to have something to protect. She wasn't my weapon. She wasn't my project. She wasn't my redemption. She was a kid. A broken, brilliant, dangerous kid who'd chosen to save my life. Not because she was ordered to, but because she wanted to. 3 months ago, she'd tried to kill me. Now she was willing to die for me. I didn't know what to do with that, but I knew I wasn't going to waste it. She chose her name on the day everything changed. 6 months to the day since our deal, she'd been counting. I hadn't realized until she showed up at my door at 500, not for training, but with a strange expression on her face. I'm supposed to decide today, she said. You are. I don't want to leave. Something unlocked in my chest. Okay. But I need to know something first. She hesitated. She never hesitated anymore. Not since Kethri. Not since she decided I was worth protecting. You called this company. You said you wanted company. Is that still all it is? I could have deflected. Could have kept things simple, professional, safe. But she deserved better than that. No, I said. It's not. Then, what is it? I've been thinking about this for months. How to explain something I barely understood myself. How to put into words what had grown between us. This strange, fierce, improbable bond. I have a word, I said. But I don't know if it means the same thing to you as it does to me. Tell me, family. She went very still. I couldn't read her expression. That wall she'd learned to build still came up sometimes, when emotions got too big. The Dominion said family was weakness, she said finally. They said bonds made you vulnerable, made you controllable. They weren't wrong. People you care about can be used against you, can be hurt to hurt you. I met her eyes. But they were missing something. What? People you care about are also worth fighting for. Worth protecting. Worth being better for. I smiled just a little. The Dominion didn't understand that. That's why they lost. She was quiet for a long time. Processing, the way she did. Analyzing, evaluating, testing for traps. Then something in her expression shifted. Opened. I never had family before, she said. I don't know how to do it. Neither do I. Not anymore. I held out my hand. We could figure it out together. She looked at my hand. Then she took it. Not a handshake, not a formal gesture, but actually holding on. I want to stay, she said. I want to be family. Then stay. Be family. I need a name. She said it like it had just occurred to her, but I knew better. She'd been thinking about this for months. You said I could choose. When I knew who I wanted to be. What did you decide? She took a breath. Nira. It means, in the old Velthari, before the Dominion, it means the one who chooses. I looked it up. Nira. The one who chooses. It's perfect, I said. That's when the alarms went off. I knew the sound. Full bass alert, not a drill. Something big was happening. We moved together without discussion. Old training and new trust combining into seamless coordination. Chen met us in the command center, face grim. Dominion remnant fleet, 8 ships including a carrier. They just dropped out of FTL at the edge of the system. Here for the base, here for her. Chen looked at Nira. Intercepted transmission. They're demanding we turn over recovered Dominion assets or face full assault. The room went cold. 8 ships against our defenses. We'd hold probably, but at enormous cost. And they'd keep coming. The Dominion didn't forget its property. How did they find her? I asked. Kethri. Chen's jaw tightened. The recovery team must have sent a signal before I killed them. Nira's voice was flat. They'll keep coming. As long as I'm here, they'll keep coming. We'll protect you, I said. That's not negotiable. How many people will die protecting me? I didn't have an answer for that. Neither did Chen. Nira looked at us both. The family she'd just claimed. The home she'd just chosen. And I saw her making a calculation. The same calculation she'd made at Kethri, but bigger. Worse? No, I said, reading her intent. Whatever you're thinking, no. If I go to them, they'll kill you. Or worse, they'll recondition you. Turn you back into what you were. But the base will be safe. You'll be safe. I don't care about safe. I care about you. Her composure cracked, just a little. You can't care about me more than all these people. Watch me. Chen stepped in. With respect, Commander, we've got about 2 hours before that fleet is in weapons range. We need a plan that isn't arguing. I looked at the tactical display. 8 ships. 1 carrier. Enough firepower to crack our defenses if they committed to it. But the Dominion was arrogant. They always had been. They're here for her, I said slowly. Just her. They don't care about the base or the fleet. If she's not here, I just said I'm not letting her go to them. I'm not suggesting that. An idea was forming. Insane, probably. But insane was better than losing her. I'm suggesting we make them think she's somewhere else. It took an hour to set up. Nira argued the entire time. This is stupid, she said, for approximately the 15th time. You keep using that word. Because you keep being stupid. But she was helping anyway. She always did. The plan was simple. A decoy shuttle, broadcasting her biosigns, leading the fleet away from the base, while our real forces maneuvered into position. The problem was that someone had to fly the shuttle, and autopilot wouldn't fool Dominion sensors. I'll do it, I said. No. Nira grabbed my arm. You'll die. Probably not. I've survived worse odds. I won't let you. Nira, I'm not losing you. Her voice cracked on the word. I'm not losing the first person whoever chose me back. I looked at her. This fierce, broken, brilliant girl who'd come into my life with a knife and a death wish, and had somehow become the most important thing in my universe. You're not going to lose me, I said. But I need you to trust me. I trust you. She said it like a confession, like a prayer. I'm just scared. I know. Me too. I pulled her into a hug. She held on tight, not stiff anymore, not defensive, just holding on. Remember what I said about people worth fighting for? Yes, you're worth fighting for, Nira. You're worth everything. I let her go. She wiped her eyes. She'd started doing that, letting emotions show, letting herself be vulnerable. Come back, she said. That's an order. Yes, ma'am. The shuttle was cramped. poorly shielded, and absolutely terrifying. I watched the Dominion fleet change course on my sensors, 8 ships peeling away from the base to chase one decoy. "You're an idiot." Chen's voice crackled over comms. "Just want you to know that." "Noted. She's watching the tactical feed. Hasn't blinked in 10 minutes. I smiled despite everything. "Tell her I'm fine. She can hear you. I know." The Dominion carrier launched fighters. I pushed the shuttle into evasive maneuvers, buying time, leading them further from the base. Our fleet was moving into position behind them. The trap we'd set, the gamble we were taking. It was going to be close. The first hits rocked the shuttle. Shields failing, hull integrity dropping, everything going wrong at once. I kept flying, kept dodging, kept counting down the seconds until the UN fleet opened fire from behind the Dominion formation. 8 ships, caught completely off guard, focused entirely on one decoy shuttle. Within minutes, it was over. I managed to crash the shuttle into a friendly carrier's hangar bay rather than into the void. That counted as a win. Nira was waiting when they pulled me out of the wreckage. She didn't say anything. Just stood there with tears streaming down her face, watching the medics check my injuries. "I'm okay," I said. "Nira, I'm okay." She hit me. It was a weak hit, barely a tap, but she hit me. "Stupid," she said, crying. "Stupid, stupid, stupid, probably." I caught her hand. "But I came back. You almost didn't. Almost doesn't count." She laughed through her tears, the first time I'd ever heard her laugh. It was rusty and uncertain and the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. "I chose the right name," she said. "Nira, the one who chooses. Yeah, I choose you." She squeezed my hand. "I choose us. I choose family." I pulled her into a hug, right there in the middle of the hangar bay with medics trying to treat my injuries and Chen rolling her eyes in the background, and the wreckage of my shuttle still smoking behind us. "Family," I agreed. "Now, let's go home." We walked out of that hangar together, not commander and asset, not protector and protected, but father and daughter and everything that mattered. The Dominion had made her a weapon. They'd made her believe that was all she could ever be. But she'd chosen differently. She'd chosen to be more. And I'd chosen her right back. Humanity has a lot of strengths. Our adaptability, our stubbornness, our refusal to accept impossible odds. But the one that matters most is this: we know how to love. We know how to look at a child soldier with a knife at our throat and see the kid underneath. We know how to choose. And sometimes, if we're very lucky, we get chosen back.